Hey, moms and dads, don't you just love when your child reminds you about a school project at bedtime the night before it's due? With Skylight Calendar, you can avoid those last minute oops moments. It visually displays your family schedule in one place with different colors for each family member, so you can eliminate those last minute surprises that upset your kids. Skylight Calendar is a Wi-Fi connected digital display that syncs seamlessly with all your calendars and visually showcases your family's schedule on an HD touchscreen. You can manage events, chores, and grocery lists on the go with the free Skylight app. This is a game changer for families like ours. And your happiness is Skylight's happiness. So if in 120 days you are not 100% thrilled, you can return it for a full refund, no questions asked. This is a great Mother's Day gift. And right now, Skylight is offering our listeners $30 off their 15-inch calendars by going to skylightcal.com/calm. Go to skylightcal.com/calm for $30 off your 15-inch calendar. That's skylightcal.com/calm. So do you have kids who resist you when you try to get them moving? Sometimes they'll ignore you. They'll dawdle. They'll go more slowly. You call them to come for dinner or get ready to leave the house, and you hear this like, oh, 5 more minutes, just give me a minute. And you know it's not 5 minutes. Or you go to pick them up from a play date and your child cries or lashes out at you. That's always awesome in front of one of your friends. Or they just refuse to get out of the pool. What about this? Your kids are playing video games and you're trying to get them to move. That is a huge trigger for some of us, and it's tough. So how can you get resistant kids moving without a huge power struggle? I want to show you a tough approach, but an even better way that melts the resistance, changes your child's attitude, and actually turns power struggles into bonding opportunities. So that is what we're going to discuss on today's episode of the Calm Parenting Podcast. So welcome, this is Kirk Martin, founder of Celebrate Calm. You can find us and our Black Friday sale in March sale at celebratecalm.com. We're getting so much positive response to that. We're just going to keep doing it for a little bit. So quick shout out to my friend Lincoln in Duluth, Minnesota. He listens to the podcast with his dad, and he's been helping his dad by cleaning out the litter box, something he doesn't like doing. And the deal was, if he did that for a month, he'd get a big bag of Twizzlers. So I just sent him a 5-pound tub. So Lincoln, I'm proud of you for stepping up and being responsible. Enjoy the Twizzlers. Try to make them last a little while. So here's the principle. We want to enter into our child's world and lead them back out. And this was prompted by a really good question from parents. Hey, our strong-willed child always negotiates, shocker, when we ask her to come in for dinner, coming up with excuses to keep playing basketball. Now, here's my answer. First, we just discovered a huge clue about how to help your child with schoolwork. This is something we overlook to our detriment. So one of the first steps I always ask parents to do is simply observe your child. Your kids will tell you everything they need by what they do, because they will very clearly show you how they learn best if you watch and observe them. Notice what they naturally gravitate toward doing, what calms them. If you have kids that like being in confined spaces, where you can do homework under the table or in a car or the garage, in an attic, they can sleep in a sleeping bag in the closet or in a tent. And I can use confined spaces and sensory pressure to actually help calm them down. Look, this girl loves basketball. It's relaxing. So guess where I am going to quiz her about her math facts, vocabulary words, and history questions. Guess where we're going to have tough talks? Right there on the driveway while shooting foul shots. I promise you it will work so much better there. So everything your kids do is a clue. Observe, take notes, be curious, experiment. So here are a couple options for handling this with your daughter. Number one, you can double down on tough consequences. Hey, I'll give you 7 more minutes. When this basketball buzzer or music goes off, you must be inside within 35 seconds, that's the shot clock limit in women's college basketball, you've got to be inside within 35 seconds. For every minute that you are late, you forfeit 15 minutes of play time tomorrow night. I like tough, firm discipline, as long as your expectations are crystal clear and your tone is matter of fact, no drama, no negotiation. You just do what you said you were going to do. You can try that route and it may work, or it may devolve into more power struggles. And look, I wish I could just say, hey, if you're tough and firm like this, it'll work every time. It doesn't work that way with strong-willed kids. So I like having a lot of tools in my parenting toolbox. Now, my favorite strategy for this is different. I actually want to turn the power struggle into a bonding opportunity. So what if you went outside and did the following instead? Hey, Courtney, I love that you're outside playing, because you're outside. All the other kids are in the neighborhood, have their heads buried in screens. So thanks for not causing endless fights over screens. See, that's kind of refreshing to hear from my parents. Instead of the lecture how I don't listen, I never follow directions, I always cause all these fights, now I get to hear, I love that you're outside playing. Hey, Courtney, I admire your persistence and discipline in practicing foul shots to get better. Those qualities are going to serve you well in life. So say that. Now, I forbid you to say, well, if you would just do that with your school and chores, you'd be capable of so much more. No, you don't do that. You just affirm what they're already doing well, not what you want to change. I could stop the podcast right there and just say, go do that for a week and watch what happens. And then you turn that power struggle into a bonding moment and you shoot foul shots with your daughter. If she likes to be competitive, you say, hey, let's shoot 20, see who gets more. You could play a game of horse. Laugh and play together. Not every time, but sometimes. And the principle is connection comes before compliance, right? So then you can say in a low tone, hey, nice job on the court. Hey, it's time to go in. While we're eating, why don't we talk about some different plays or strategies you can use in your next game? And this is why I call it entering in and leading out. You entered into her world to identify what is important to your child. You connected. It doesn't even have to take that long. That can take 2 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. But after you enter into your child's world and connect, then you can lead them back out. And look, it's not about, I've talked about this, it's not about convincing your child, threatening, bribing. You lead these strong-willed kids instead of yelling. You draw her into a conversation, breathe into that situation instead of fighting it. And you will not only get her to move, you will build amazing memories with your child, and she will listen more. And I guarantee you this down the road. When this girl's a teenager, she's going to say, hey, mom or dad, hey, will you go shoot some foul shots with me? And that's code word for something's happening in my teen or tween drama life that I need some help with, and I don't want to just have a sit-down talk looking you in the eyes. We can do it while we're casually shooting foul shots. I guarantee you that's what will happen. It is a beautiful thing. And so then when you need your daughter to listen immediately, you'll be able to say, hey, tonight's a code red night, Courtney. We can't play because we need to go to your sister's soccer game, visit grandma in the hospital. But on the way there, why don't you tell me what you've learned in taking all these foul shots? Because I'm really impressed. See, you can do a mix where you say, hey, tonight's not that night. And see, even the tone of it is just, hey, tonight's not that night. And I like saying it's a code red night. Code red means, hey, we really need to move. Because you know what? You don't really have to move quickly every night. And so I want you to use these things with wisdom and not say like, well, every night's a hurry. You've got to always listen. No, not always, because they're not. And some nights are a green night, which means, you know what? why don't instead of coming for dinner, why don't I just bring some snacks out and we'll just play out here together? Well, why wouldn't that be an awesome idea? And some nights are yellow, which means, hey, I've got 3 minutes to shoot. Okay, I'm going to give you five, we'll each do 5 shots. And some nights, hey, red night, we don't have time. We need to go. And so if you use this approach, you can stop the power struggles with all kinds of different issues. Now, what about a child who refuses to move when you pick them up from a friend's house or try to get them out of the pool? So Mrs. Calm told me yesterday, I wish I had begun drinking AG1 sooner. My stomach has felt so much calmer and I'm more regular. My AG1 in the morning provides some consistency I really crave. And that's one reason I love my AG1. It's an easy, healthy daily routine. No messes, no blenders. We put 1 scoop of AG1 into a bottle of water, shake it up, and start our day with 75 vitamins, probiotics, prebiotics, and whole food sourced ingredients. Check out a special offer at drinkag1.com/calm. Look, I've got more energy, better mental clarity, and AG1 supports my immune health. And that's why I've been partnering with AG1 for so long. Be an AG1 couple like us. AG1 is offering new subscribers a free $76 gift when you sign up. You'll get a welcome kit, a bottle of D3 and K2, and 5 free travel packs in your first box. So check out drinkag1.com/calm to get this offer. That's drinkag1.com/calm to start your day with a win. When we moved to our home, we were quoted a cost of over $20,000 for some trees and shrubs, but we just saved 90% with fast-growing trees, and they helped us get the exact privacy and flowering trees and shrubs for our specific climate, and it's delivered right to our door in days. Fast Growing Trees is the biggest online nursery in the US with thousands of different plants and over 2 million happy customers, including us. They take the hassle out of creating your dream yard. Their Alive and Thrive guarantees ensures your plants arrive happy and healthy. Plus, get support from trained plant experts on call to help you choose and care for the right plants. This spring, Fast Growing Trees has the best deals for your yard, up to half off on select plants. Plus, listeners to our show get an additional 15% off their first purchase when using the code CALM at checkout. That's an additional 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code CALM. fastgrowingtrees.com/calm. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. So you allowed your child to stay an extra hour at their friend's house trying to be nice because this is a kid who complains that he doesn't get enough time. And so you were being nice, but it compresses your evening timeline. And we have an agenda because it's a school night, so there's a lot to do. So you show up at your friend's house and you make some idle chit-chat, but you are laser focused on getting your son home because you, as a parent, have 1,800 things in your mind all at once. You know that if your child doesn't eat, he'll be crabby and won't go to bed on time. And you know that that showers after a long day are usually a fight, so you're anticipating that. And he's going to be wound up, which means a prolonged bedtime. And you're already tired and need the kids to go to sleep. And you have another child who's sick. And you didn't get to the store today, and your boss just texted about another project that is superseding the one you're working on after the kids go to bed. And then there are 1,000 other things that just have to get done. So you walk in and the first thing you hear from your son is not gratitude for the extra time. Instead, the child who you have sacrificed everything for is not happy to see you. Oh, Mom, why are you here? Just what you were hoping to hear from your beloved son. Get your shoes on, Devin. It's a school night. And right, we start in on that as if he's going to say, right away, Mother, I know you have dozens of items on your checklist, and I'm so very grateful you allowed me extra time to play with my best friend. So I'll move extra quickly. Yeah, it's not happening. He basically ignores you and yells, I don't know where my shoes are, as he runs off and yells excitedly to play with his friends some more. And your shoulders kind of slump because you don't have time for this. And you know how this ends. In threats under your breath. This is the last time you get to play with Jimmy on a school night. And look, you haven't done anything wrong. You're trying to be a good mom or dad. It's just hard. So let's try this next time. As you are driving over to Jimmy's house, do a little reset. Take even 30 seconds and reset your expectations. Slow down your world inside and imagine what is in your child's mind and heart as you drive to pick him up. Let go of your immediate agenda, right? To get the kid moving, get home, eat, shower, bedtime, and make this your agenda instead, to connect. Do that first, because if you connect first, your child will move more quickly. But if you rush in leading with your anxiety, your child will resist you even more. And I know this is hard and it's counterintuitive at first, like just about everything we teach you, and it's going to bug you. But after a while, the more you practice, the more it becomes second nature. So you walk in and say with some enthusiasm, even if it's forced or fake, I don't care. Devin, did you have like the best time ever here tonight with Jimmy? And your child's going to be excited. And you can say, what was the favorite thing you did? He's like, Mom, Dad, we jumped off the roof onto a trampoline and did a backflip into the pool. It was awesome. And you're like, well, I hope the Johnsons have good insurance. But whatever your child did, it's okay to fake like you think it was really cool and fun. But really enter into your child's world right now instead of trying to convince him to care about your world and your expectations and your agenda and your busyness, because he's a kid. Your child's job is to have fun with friends. It's not to want to eat or shower or go to bed. Just recognize that that's reality. And once you have connected with some intensity like that, you can begin to lead your child out. Hey, on the way home, let's talk about some ideas for what you can do when Jimmy comes over to our house. And I know this will seem like, well, that takes a long time. No, it doesn't. It's way quicker than if you just walk in and snap your fingers like your child's going to be dressed and ready for you. It'll take much less time than trying to convince and bribe and threaten your child to get moving without all the embarrassment in front of the other parents. Now, look, you have every right to set this expectation from the beginning. Hey, I am picking you up at 7 p.m. sharp. When I come to pick up, we will thank the Johnsons and leave within 5 minutes, or you will be waiting for me on the front steps with Jimmy when I swing by to pick you up, or no more play dates. This is just how I roll. These are my terms. Look, I am perfectly fine with that. If there's a reasonable chance it will work with your particular child. I'm just a realist, and I know this would have never worked with Casey, no matter how calm, authoritative leader I was with my even matter-of-fact tone. There was a time when Casey had a best friend named Aaron, and when I picked him up at Aaron's house, I knew he had the best time ever. He didn't want to leave, and he was too wound up and excited about what he'd just done there. So I used this approach instead, and it bonded. And you know what? I bonded with his friends too. It was so good. And so I want you to get your agenda completed, but I want you to do it by entering in and leading your child out, because that's how you accomplish it much more quickly. I also want you to realize, moms and dads, most of your parenting agenda isn't really that important. It seems like it right now in the moment, but it just gives you some illusion of order and control, but it's not what you will remember, and it's not why your child is going to be successful one day. What is important is that connection, which almost always gets kids moving more quickly. So I use the same process if I'm trying to get kids out of the pool or ocean. Realize being in water is one of the most fun parts of childhood, so they're not ever going to want to get out. So you enter in, not physically unless you're really cool and you like jumping in with your clothes on, which would occasionally do that, but you enter in and lead them out. So let me cover this one. You call to your child to get off their video games and come to dinner or go somewhere. Expect to hear silence. Expect them to ignore you or say, wait, hold on, I need to save it. Hold on just a few more minutes. And expect to be irritated by that. And so you can do a really tough approach. You've heard me say it in other podcasts of, hey, If you don't come when I call you and ask, then you lose your video games, your screens for 3 days. Hey, I give you X amount of time, and if you go over that time, you choose to forfeit them. That's perfectly fine to do. But I'll mix a soft and tough approach here because this is what I did with Casey. So sometimes I would walk reluctantly up to his room, irritated inside, but suppressing that so I didn't start World War III. And I'd watch him playing a game like Call of Duty. And even though I hated video games and wanted him outside playing sports, I said, hey, that's actually pretty cool. I can see why you'd want to play this for hours. Look, our strong-willed kids often feel so misunderstood. And it's like, all you ever want to do is this. Why do you hide behind your video games? And it's like we don't really understand the needs that are being met there sometimes. And it's like our agenda and checklist get in the way. And I was just reminded of something. I'd encourage you to do this. A mom emailed and said, hey, we got all the programs for the Black Friday sale. We immediately let our 2 strong-willed kids listen to the Strong-Willed Child program. And we asked them this. Listen to this program and tell us, do you ever feel like we misunderstand your motives? We want to know specifics. And she said, we had the best discussions. And think about what she said. It's like we are discovering who our kids really are now, not who we wanted them to be. Now that's gold. That will change your relationship and that will change behavior. So I encourage you to do that. Let your kids listen to our podcast. Let them listen to the programs and then ask them for their feedback. It's a discussion. So when I went to get my son off the video games, he was expecting the lecture and the threat. He was expecting my snotty tone and the negativity. Instead, I was curious about his world. And I remember him getting really excited, not about chores or homework, but excited telling me, Dad, you should see this. They have recreated these World War II battlefields, so it feels like you're like right there in 1945 in France. And so I began asking questions and leading him while we connected over this. And I have to say, this is what ultimately helped me get him off video games, because what I realized was, man, he's playing video games because he gets to use his critical thinking skills and he gets to be sneaky and use strategy. He led other kids. He was kind of team captain. It was stimulating. There was a challenge. He felt like he had a control of something. And something we miss with video games is this: confidence. See, confidence is not built by just us saying like, hey, you're amazing, you're wonderful. It's by actually accomplishing something and being competent at something. And many of our kids are not that competent in the kid world or at school, even though they're very bright. And so they feel like they're dumb kids or bad kids. And when they play these games and they're on screens, sometimes it's the one place where they just thrive. And so instead of just dismissing that, and by the way, instead of just saying, look, this is where you thrive, play 8 hours a day. I didn't say that. I said it's really important to enter into their world and discover that. And so I began asking questions, say, hey, that's really cool. Let's talk more at dinner. And I can add something here and just say, hey, just know that if this isn't turned off in the next 3 minutes, you won't be playing again for 3 days. That's fair. You can do that. But see, I would connect and I'd say, oh, now I can understand why you'd want to play, because it is a challenge. Use your strategic brain. Why are you so good at Call of Duty? See, I asked him a question about something he was interested in instead of just asking about school and his behavior. What makes you so good? We connected over that. Now, to this day, look, this stuff lasts a long time. We trade off reading books about World War I and World War II. That bond has lasted a long time. So it's not just about bonding with your child. Remember that a lot of what modern day parents do really well is bond with their child, but sometimes we don't go that extra step and actually change behavior. But if you use this approach, we not only bond, but you change behavior because your kids will transition more quickly. So this week, you are going to have opportunities to do this, probably within a few hours. So practice this. Make a note, send it to your email of like, enter into my child's world and lead them back out. That's cool. If you want a couple hundred more ideas, take advantage of the Black Friday sale. If we can help you in any way, let us know. Please subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any of the podcasts. We appreciate you sharing it. And most of all, I say this every week, I respect you so much for leaning into this, to doing the really hard work to change yourself, break those generational patterns, and create a new family tree. You are heroes to me. And I just love that you guys are doing this. And if we can help in any way, let us know. Okay, love you all. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.